again because I am heavily caffeinated and I just got a call saying my work schedule might be crazy tomorrow at the lab. Therefore, I'm just going to talk for the next 10 minutes because I wanted to cover these topics. We know that when I started making this channel, the case had already kind of been on a roll when I felt the pull to have to discuss this topic, right? So today we are here to talk about these crazy stains that were found in Kohberger's apartment in Pullman, Washington. And we are going to talk about his creepy storage closet. Now, a lot of you are well versed in this case. You know everything. You probably know more than me, but here we are talking about it. Why? Because a lot of people don't know these things. Lately, there has been a massive influx of random investigators that have been probably paid by news sources to come forward and give their personal opinion on this case. That's great. Sure, that's fine. The problem is when you have these investigators who have nothing to do with this case. Okay, they have not looked at every document as me and you have. They don't know the ins and outs of this case. They have a very superficial analysis of Kohberger, and they basically are still stuck back in December 2022 as far as data analysis goes, and they're still talking about shit that we know by now that it's not true. Unfortunately, the majority of people are not watching our channel here, right? They're watching Nancy Grace or some massive channel that is still pushing nonsense out. It's fine to speculate, but when Nancy and other people put information out there as truth, that is when it becomes problematic. So, for example, I just found a document that popped up here that is talking about all these 60 plus bloodstains that were found at Kohberger's place. Now, they were not bloodstains, guys. Just because there is a reddish brown stain in somebody's house doesn't mean it's blood. I understand that. One weird hearing, 4 people just got unalived. It was a massacre. It was messy. It was horrible. It smelled. Probably that's where our mind goes, right? But this was not at 1122 King Road. These spots were found at the Pullman residence where Brian Christopher Kohberger was living in Washington while he was attending the university. It could have been anything. It could have been hot chocolate. And I'm actually going to tell you a little story, guys. My grandfather has some health issues, right? And when I was taking care of him, let's just say that he forgot to unplug the electric kettle. And instead of putting water in there, he was trying to make hot chocolate in the electric kettle. He left the hot chocolate there and the thing exploded while we were away from the home, right? And we go back later and we see this splatter on the ceiling. And I'm like, oh my God, what happened to Grandpa? What the hell happened to Grandpa? I was freaking out. I'm like climbing the table trying to make sure that that's not crusty, dry blood. It was hot cocoa. My mind, just like your mind, if you hear brown 60 plus stains, it's probably going to go to blood. Thank God it wasn't blood. It was hot chocolate. Maybe Kohberger just spilled some hot chocolate, people. And by the way, it has been 2 years. So why are these investigators still pushing this narrative out? There was blood found there. Per the legal document, it was not blood, right? It was listed as preliminary blood test on a brown irregular drip discovered on the mattress cover and a reddish brown stain on an uncased pillow. Both showed results. Okay, but whose blood were they? If it was blood, what type of results? You're not telling me, did it pop positive for blood? By the way, I know a lot of men, when I was in the military, they would get the very short hair and they get the, is it folliculitis that it's called? I think that's what they called it in the Navy. It's like these bumps, right? That you get all over here and here when you shave very closely. And sometimes those bumps, they bleed, right? So There are a lot of men out there with very short hair, very close to the head or even to the face. If they're shaving very closely and they could get something like folliculitis on the back, it could be blood. It could also be blood. That being said, I personally believe that if this was blood belonging to one of the victims, we had already heard about it. By the way, since we're talking about the victims in this video, just wanted to also answer a question that I found on my previous videos. It was somebody asking me if the rumor of Brian Kohberger having the IDs of the victims in his apartment, if that was true. No, ma'am. No, sir. That is not true. That was never shown to be true. That is a rumor, as most rumors that we have heard about have been false and made up. Again, you have to question everything when you are going to these massive news channels. They're pushing a narrative, and the narratives that are scary and make us feel they make us feel scared. Those are the ones that get the most clicks. Okay, it's like fear mongering gets our brains to wake up. So you have to be very careful. Please question everything. Don't believe that just because you see Nancy Grace or whoever saying that there was a blood found doesn't mean that there was any blood found. No presence of blood. Again, I personally think that if it was that of the victims, or if the IDs that supposedly Kohberger had in his apartment in Pullman belonged to the victims, we would have heard about it already, right? But no, if anything, Ann Taylor and her team are now more than ever positive, right? She stated that they were sure that he was innocent. They know that this man is being railroaded. Now, let's talk about the storage closet, shall we? So, let's see here. Are you guys here? Or am I all alone? It feels like I'm all alone. Leave a comment in the chat. Adam, what do you think of astrologer? I don't know any astrologers. I'm sorry. I don't really watch other people. The only person I have watched was A.R. Hayes, and I only heard about him because he actually popped up on one of my lives. So I watched like 2 videos of him the last time I was over at his channel and I had some free time. He seems very honest, right? I don't really know astrologers or anyone really else on YouTube. I know I'm old. So the wording in these legal documents is also something that should be broken down, right? Because it says, at approximately 7:15 a.m. the next day, Kohberger's apartment was searched by law enforcement. Documents say they cleared each room of the residence and noticed the apartment was sparsely furnished and fairly empty of belongings, including no shower curtain in the bathroom, and the trash cans appeared empty. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. When I first heard about the no shower curtain, okay, that freaked me out. Like, my mind went straight to like, this freaking weirdo did it. Like, why does he not have a shower curtain? We all should have a shower curtain. I mean, even if you're going home away for the holidays as he was, like, is it necessary to pull your shower curtain down? Like, that's weird. That's weird, right? But as the case has progressed and we have learned more about Brian Kohberger and what appear to be very OCD tendencies. For example, we have heard from his neighbors that he used to vacuum his apartment every night or every morning. It's actually in the morning, 3 in the morning. Who does that? Who does that if they don't have OCD? So I have some OCD colleagues and I asked them, do you think that it's weird that he would take that out? Because from a person who doesn't have OCD, it's weird. They said, well, no, like, that's the right thing to do. You want to pull the curtain out because what if it grows mold and then you come back and then you're breathing all this mold? Or what if it's dirty? Or what if somebody steals it? And I'm like, that is so weird. I never would have thought about it that way, but you have to think like a person with OCD, and I know that not all people with OCD think the same way. Everybody has their OCD manifest in a different manner, right? So the fact that the place was fairly empty of belongings, I mean, that doesn't stand out to me at all, because when I was living in the barracks in the military, it's very similar to this type of residence that Brian Kohberger was living in, right? I didn't have anything. Like, my roommate had so much stuff, like all these perfumes, like 50 face care routines, a lot of clothing. Like, she had a lot. I had the bare minimum. I was a minimalist, and I had my uniforms, my a couple of civilian outfits, like regular clothes, like 2 pairs of jeans, a couple shirts, very simple. And we had to lock up our extras in a storage, right? Like a closet, we locked it. And in that storage area, that's where everything was hidden very neatly away from the sight of viewers. So if you just walked into my room, people thought I didn't live there. When we had room inspections, they'd be like, does anybody even live here? Because like, you have nothing. You have no TV, you have no, I have like a book and that's it. So I don't think that that's weird. I think a lot of people are minimalistic. A lot of people, especially people who are focused in educating themselves, like, you're getting a PhD. Why do you need 30 pairs of jeans? Why do you need so much crap in your apartment? He probably didn't. So it doesn't surprise me that his apartment was not really furnished, that he didn't have a lot of things. Trash cans appeared empty. It's like, well, yeah, he was gonna be gone for weeks, right, for holiday break. So video documentation of the apartment was also conducted. So this is what I find very interesting, because they expect us to believe, guys. They expect us to believe that they recorded like bits and pieces, right? Not everything, right? They just recorded bits and pieces of them going through his things. No, I want to see the full video. I want to see everything, every freaking minute. There is no reason those cops should be turning their camera off. Turn it on all the way. By the way, as a little ADD note on the side here, it's a little thank you note from me to you, since you guys are watching. Always make sure that if you get pulled over by law enforcement for any reason, make sure to ask for their name, their badge, their supervisor, their police department, and make sure to ask them to please turn on their cameras. Their cameras should be rolling anytime they are interacting. And even if they are not, if you ask them to, they are required to turn them on. Do not have any interactions with law enforcement. Doesn't matter if it's FBI, CIA, DEA, cops. Make sure that camera is running, because that camera could save your ass later in court. So let's continue, shall we? Get your coffee, get your crime. Don't get your crime, just get your coffee. Video documentation on the apartment, but no video documentation when they are flying a helicopter at the residence of the Kohbergers in Pennsylvania, arresting Kohberger, breaking doors, breaking windows. Oh yeah, we don't have evidence of that, guys. We don't have evidence of that. I see you guys. John Matson. Oh my God. Hi, John. Have you ever been on a live before? Hi. I'm so excited because I interact with you guys a lot in the comments. So very cool. It's just weird. And sometimes people don't realize that that's what happened in Pennsylvania. Like, okay, recording of this shit that matters, right? But you don't have the recording of when you broke an entire residence? By the way, it didn't even belong to Brian. It was his parents. So there are these sad pictures. They break my heart when I see Brian's parents, his father in particular, like putting his house together. Like, it makes me want to cry. This man, like, had the windows blown out of his freaking house. That's what it looks like. And he's having to fix everything, right? After they destroyed his home, took his son, incarcerated him. What appears to be like, by the way, it appears to be like they're railroading his fucking son. And then on top of that, oh yeah, we totally forgot to record that. We totally don't have any records of us interviewing him. FBI, Pennsylvania PD. They seem just as corrupt as Moscow PD. Or are they in bed together? Hoes. It's just disgusting. Piss me off. Authorities found a round padlock in the entryway closet of Kohberger's apartment that law enforcement recognized as being used for storage facilities. A key to the lock was located on the TV stand. Kohberger also had a storage closet at the apartment complex assigned to him. They found the door to the closet was ajar, and appeared to be empty. Oh my God, how creepy is that? How creepy is that? He had a storage closet that was empty. Those are signs of a killer. Not, right? Not. That is so fucking stupid. Again, this man sounds to me like me when I was in the military, like me when I was in college getting my freaking degrees. He didn't have a life because he's focused on getting his degrees. He didn't have a lot of friends, probably because, not because he's not personable, because he was focused on getting his degrees. He didn't have a lot of shit because why spend money on things that you're not going to use when you're focused on getting your degrees? Oh, and he had an empty storage closet. That means he cleaned it out and he threw everything away because he killed them. He did it. Or maybe he just didn't have things to put in there. He obviously didn't have things in his freaking room because he doesn't own a lot of things, because he's probably a minimalist. Meaning that why would he have shit to put in his storage closet? Like, people like to make up these stories and they say that we speculate. We are allowed to speculate, but they say we speculate and they're like, he had the bodies probably in there and then he moved everything and cleaned everything. And then on top of that, we had Moscow PD lie to us for God knows how long, telling us it's the car. Since they didn't find anything in his apartment in Pullman, it's probably in his car that he drove across the country. Why didn't you check his car before he left to Pennsylvania? Are you fucking idiots? You are. Okay, got it. Roger that. Roger that. That's where he keeps everything. That's where the evidence is going to be. It's going to be in his car. So then they get the warrant for the car. They get the wrong fucking car, first of all. Excuse my French. Pardon, mon français. And guess what? This treasure chest of DNA evidence that is supposedly across the country in Pennsylvania gets looked at by the FBI. The FBI happens to lose Kohberger cross country. Like, y'all are fucking idiots or you're lying. You had $1 million vehicle to follow Kohberger across the country. You lost him. I'm sorry. Why do we have to pay the FBI again? Why do we need the FBI again? Do we even need the FBI? I'm asking the tough questions here. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but me and my girlfriends can find information on almost anybody. And we could have tracked Kohberger to Pennsylvania without losing him. So that's all I'm going to say for the day, guys. I gotta go. I gotta go work and live my life. So I hope you enjoyed this video. This is bullshit. Be careful who you listen to. A lot of new investigators out there pushing narrative shit that has been disproven like almost 2 years ago. So peace out. Take care. Leave a like. Leave an emoji. I don't know what else to say. Take care.